All right, all right. Hey guys. All right, so this is a bonus general message part 2. Sorry we got interrupted by my dog's needs at the end of part 1. If you didn't see part 1, I'll put a free link in the description box. It'll bounce you back over there. But we ended on a cliffhanger, and we're going to pick up right where we left off in this part 2. So we've established that our lead character is a king of swords, is how they've come across. And they have been kind of denying themselves that they made some really bad choices. A relationship that they didn't give energy to is actually the one they're still obsessing over. It's the one they, more than that, they're suddenly having it strike them that that person who I kept thinking I could easily replace, she might have replaced me and moved on and is living a different life in a different place. She turned her back on me. She might be with a new lover. She may not even remember my name. And that is the part that is driving them bananas. I'm wondering if this character is not used to having other people replace them. Hi, everyone. Thank you for your patience with me tonight. The Empress. Okay. So what they're really not used to is meeting somebody that is a straight up Empress. They are used to saying everybody's replaceable, everybody. And maybe that's even like one of their mantras. Ooh, there's very few sentences that I think are more awful than that. I've heard people say that, and I've been like, well, have fun replacing me then. I'm outie. I just, that conversation, those words spoken, whether from an employer or anybody, and I shut down. I'm gone. That one and done for me on that sentence. And I just feel like that applies in this story, because that's what they're so stressed out that she did. But all this time they kept acting like there's so many other lovers out there. And why would I need to give very much to any one particular person? I think that they were used to run and game, but here's the crazy part. They thought in part 1 that they were this amazing king. They really, I don't know how they got it so wrong, how they had these kings are amazing typically. And it seems like this character felt like they were wonderful, but then they couldn't stop thinking about her, and she was the one that they only gave a tiny amount of energy to. Unless I'm misreading this whole thing, and she gave them very little energy, and they said, wow, if she doesn't care this much about me, here I am, this amazing king, that I just need to move on from her, when that's not what their heart actually wanted. And that could be, we could have a case of complete confusion about, sometimes people's ego get really bent out of shape. There's the assumption that somebody doesn't care for us, and then we go, well, forget it, you don't care about me, then I'm gone. That could have factored in. But I don't know. We see this tremendously from the viewpoint of, oh my God, Crystal Suzanne, thank you. And Ryan Brummer, this is Ryan's birthday today, Crystal Suzanne. You just gifted Ryan a beautiful birthday gift. Ryan, definitely jump into the members corner. Don't miss the post that I posted, because we're doing a giveaway and you still have time to enter. Okay, so happy birthday. And Crystal Suzanne, thank you a million times over for your kindness. This character being a king of swords again and again, I'm going to say that oh my God, Crystal Suzanne, thank you, Angel, thank you. Being that they have come up multiple times as a king of swords and somebody who worked on, chewed on a thought process that they were still murky on, and then it hit them, what if she's got somebody new? I'm going to say they realized a little too late in the game this was a straight up Empress. It doesn't matter. This could still have been a same-sex couple. I'm going to say that they played a role in their own head of I'm really fabulous. I don't really need to give anybody that much attention. They need to vie for my attention. If she's not, then bounce her on out. I can get somebody else. And I think she took that position of, okay, I guess I'm replaceable. I guess I'm not doing enough or doing backflips for them, so they want somebody else. Okay. I mean, empresses up. An Empress is not going to play any games. An Empress is not going to be made to feel small. An Empress is not going to spend time trying to prove worth to someone, especially if that's a setup. Now, normally a king wouldn't set up a game like that. But remember, this person comes across like they were a king in their own mind, but we haven't actually seen their behavior reflect that because we saw the devil there. You know, I really feel like this person was struggling. I almost feel like this person was deeply insecure. They thought they'd made themselves feel secure by creating a game that only they could win, and they would give limited energy to anybody, and they expected other people to show them tons of respect, tons of appreciation, tons of interest. And if anyone didn't do that, then they would be like, whatever, you're easy to replace. But they did that with an Empress, and I think that's why they can't get over her. Can I see if that's a correct way for me to interpret this story? Give me a little bit more. How should I see this? The King of Swords. The Hermit. Well, they definitely had a lot to learn. This character, you know, you don't go onto the Hermit's journey for no reason. That's when the universe goes, time out. Time out. Everybody sit down. Oof. 6 of Cups. The Fool and the Justice. Okay, so I'm going to definitely stay with my interpretation. They did meet a soulmate, and they treated this person really crummy. And it probably, the reason the universe has sat them down by themselves on a mountaintop. And remember, in part 1, we already saw them having been distressed for a very long time. They blew it with an Empress who they thought wasn't kowtowing, wasn't tithing to them properly, wasn't giving them their proper dues. But in truth, they weren't giving anything to this Empress. And they're just now being sat down by the universe and having to sit and stew on the fact that you had somebody amazing, you had a soulmate. You could have changed the way you were behaving and treated them well, but you didn't. You did this. So you made some bad karmic brownie points, right? This is not good. This is the karmic justice. This is the universe kind of spanking them a little bit, saying, you don't treat people that way. You had somebody beautiful and you mistreated them, and you did it with intent because that's the way you play. Well, you got to stop playing games altogether and think about your behavior, because you got it wrong. That's I would say that the universe is giving them a very stern lesson. And let me tell you, this lesson has been rough for them. They are sitting there in the 9 of Swords. They're sitting there in the 10 of Wands. They want to stop focusing on this, but instead it's gotten worse the longer the Empress has been long gone. Now they're picturing her with somebody else. They're picturing her turning their back. They're picturing her loving somebody else in the arms of some other lover who isn't them. She's the one they're focused on. Weigh in on this, universe. Weigh in just on the Empress right now. 9 of Swords. Are you worried, or did they cause you grief and distress? 6 of Cups. Okay, so you notice that they have similar energies here. What I think this is saying is the universe is acknowledging that, Empress, a soulmate shouldn't cause you this kind of distress. A soulmate that's ready to be your match. In this connection, this wasn't your match because they wouldn't have made you freak out and cause this much stress. So obviously, even here, we can see the age difference. We can see young soul versus an old soul. The universe is kind of nudging her to say, if a partner like this King of Swords that you loved very much and you felt a strong bond to caused you this much distress, consider it as perhaps you were the teacher helping this student to learn an important lesson. San Juanita, thank you, Angel. Thank you so much. I feel like that's a great message from the universe to the Empress. And now it makes a lot more sense, doesn't it? The reason, so the karmic scales, what we're going to do to one person is probably someday going to come back and we're going to feel it. So all the stress that they caused the Empress at one point in time, because remember, they didn't treat the Empress like she was worth much. They treated her, I'm sorry, those cards came out ugly. When we had that devil combined with the Page of Wands, combined with the Three of Pentacles. I mean, like, they were always running game. They were giving to multiple people. They felt entitled to do this. If anything, you know what? If she was super, super attractive in their eyes, they might have actually treated her a little bit less also. Like, just because you're so hot doesn't mean that you're going to capture my attention. You're the one who has to really try to work hard to capture mine, because I'm, you know, a couple doses of king energy, and here you are, just a little page. That sounds like the worst ever. This character is like, they were the worst ever for behavior, okay? The Knight energy coupled with the Ace of Wands, the I can have anybody that I want. People need to, you know, claw for my attention and compete for my attention. This is like the worst character I've had in a long time to have to describe. However, if they caused her all that distress, because it was like, I don't understand. I mean, I thought we had some really special bond. Why would they be mistreating me like this? The universe says to her, look at it for what it is. Special bond, yes. But think about the context. They're not mature enough to treat you well because they're missing something really important. The confidence level that it would really take to just simply have an amazing connection. This person had a big fat chip on their shoulder. They wanted other people to crawl for them. And I would restate what I said at the beginning. I don't think that they thought they were so awesome. I think that they were they wanted other people to show them that they're that awesome. And so they wanted other people to crawl for them and compete for them. So mistreating their Empress has backfired in a big way. They are the ones now in the distress. So what they caused her once upon a time has been visited upon them. They're the ones who can't forget her at this point. Empress, let's talk to you for a second. Where are you at? Have you let go of them? Let's go. I don't know why, but I want to go back to that first deck, which I wouldn't normally do. Hang on, I'm picking up two decks here. You can see why, because they look so similar, but they're not. Okay. Empress, where are you at this point in the game? Where are you at? Three of Swords. She still has a pretty big heartbreak. The Empress still has pain. We have a Page of Pentacles, we have the Hanged Man, and sideways we have the Star. She's still working on healing. She actually probably isn't with a new lover yet. She's still delaying. She might still be thinking, people can't treat you badly like that and just forget it, right? I mean, they have to come in and fix this, right? There's a delay here for a reason for her. And I think she's trying really hard to meet somebody new or tell herself to meet somebody new, but I don't see her doing it because there's a delay for the healing. There's a delay for her, and she still feels the heartbreak of this. Tell me about the delay with that Hanged Man. What are you waiting for, Empress, really? Five of Pentacles. You know, it's so crazy because she's like, there's no way that they could have behaved that way. And they don't even miss me? And I don't think it's her being conceited. I think it's like, can this really be the way that it ends? Somebody can treat you that way? How could they not be feeling any kind of an absence here when I feel a heartbreak? Like, that's, I think, the contemplation. Hold on, universe, weigh in on that for her, because I worry she's putting way too much thought into them and how they might be feeling instead of just looking at what she needs to do. Queen of Sacred Circles. The universe answers with, again, the reminder of young soul, old soul. Even if they're upset and hurting, they might be upset and hurting the way, you know, a toddler gets mad when they don't get candy or juice. There's, you know, you notice how twice we've seen young soul, old soul for her from the universe. The universe keeps trying to tell her the same thing. Just because somebody misses you still doesn't mean they miss you in the right way. She's probably right. They do miss her. Well, we know. We can see that already. They are so sick and tired of being sick and tired. But remember, their biggest fear is that she's moved on and she's loving somebody else. Somebody else is touching that naughty body of hers. That's the thing that they're bothered by. That's not the same as somebody who is regretful, remorseful, loves a person, has matured, wouldn't treat her poorly anymore, has found their real confidence, and has made a significant change. That is not the same thing. So in this, the universe is nudging her to say, hey, now, take a look at just you for a minute. What are you building in your life? Are you nice and stable and secure? Give your attention to your own endeavors. Remember, your life is super important that you keep building. Don't spend too much time worrying about, you know, it's a little bit like how could you act that way though? There's it's almost like she's thinking they must have had some break from reality. There must be some reason they would have behaved that way. They've got to be feeling really bad about their behavior by now. Yes, they are feeling really bad, but they're feeling bad for themselves from what we saw. Universe, give me one more for her. I'm sorry, I know this sounds like a salty little message. I can't help it, the cards are coming out that way, but I don't actually think it's salty. I think it's just matter of fact. It's like the universe is sitting down like a straight talking big sis or big bro who's just gonna call it like it is. They're not gonna be delicate about it. They're just gonna be like, oh God, why are you crying over that person? Don't be upset over that person. That person is so beneath you. That person, yeah, they're probably boohooing big old crocodile tears because they're upset, they're sad that you're not chasing them because they need validation all the time. They're not a grown up. They're a young soul, you're an old soul. So take that old soul knowledge and be done with this person. Don't even give them any more space in your head. If they grow up and they come riding in on a white horse and they show up as this amazing, mature person and they have something to offer you, great. But until the day they do that, don't waste your energy being sad or hurt by this person. It's like being mad that a toddler threw a toy at you. Toddlers have temper tantrums. They don't mean it. And they aren't really in great control of their little, behaviors yet. So we don't really get offended when a toddler calls us a poo-poo head or whatever, mean names they're going to call, and they chuck a toy in our general direction or throw a handful of, whatever Cheerios at us. We don't get our feelings hurt. That's kind of the equivalent of this. I know I just totally took this and I can deflate a room real fast, can't I? But that's the cards. And I kind of like that. And I like that perception of it because it makes like big drama and big hurt. And it really kind of makes it like, oh, that's just silly. This doesn't have to hurt so bad. She probably doesn't want to hear that because nobody wants pain to be diminished. However, the universe says it would behoove her to diminish the pain by putting this in context. If you're dealing with a very young soul, only give them the amount of capacity to hurt you that a young soul could do. Like I say, a handful of Cheerios tossed our direction and a screaming little poopy head bad name calling isn't really gonna make us cry. That's the equivalent of dealing with a very young soul. I don't know if that's going to be useful, but I actually like that. I think it really takes the sting out of this story and makes it so much more manageable. And it says this: Three of Swords. You notice that now we have them in the Three of Swords, but man, oh man, look at them. They're always, all geared up. They're wearing their armor. This is the reason, this is the underlying reason for their behavior as a whole. They are determined no one will ever hurt them, so they'll hurt other people first. No one will ever make a chink in my armor. Oh, you little idiot. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sassy tonight, but this is so ridiculous because what they're doing is they're in this endeavor to feel like I'm a couple of different versions of a king. I'm the greatest catch on earth. And I want other people to chase me around. I like to be the one that leaves people tearful as I ride away. No, it's that they're not courageous enough to risk their heart because once they got hurt, and their reaction, because they're still a young soul, is one person hurt me, so now I will punish every other lover I ever have. I will make sure everybody else always misses me. They'll have to claw and compete for my attention because I'm somehow still trying to get back at the one person that ever caused me grief. This is not a mature person. This is, in all fairness, how we all behave, perhaps, when we've been wounded, especially, like our first loop of big broken heart. I mean, been there, done that. And down with love. And you know what? Nobody's good enough for me anymore. When in fact, it's like, I'm still wounded over the one person that hurt me, right? Like we go through that until we grow up out of it. We snap out of it and we go, that is super immature. I don't need to wear armor. I don't need to have it in my head that everybody else somehow is never going to be able to touch my heart. I'll love them and leave them, blah, blah, blah. That is so, it's undermining our own growth, but that's kind of where they got stuck for a bit. Maybe they've been stuck from like a first love that broke their heart. And unfortunately, they haven't gone back in time and assessed, like, wow, let me grow from that experience instead of fester it and, connect to it even stronger and tighter and make sure that it becomes like my mantra. So what it's going to do now is it's ruining other connections. That behavior, they ruin other connections. And we see them in armor twice. The more they keep themselves armored, the more they hurt other people and the more bad karma they're accruing. And they keep cheating themselves out of amazing people. In this case, they cheated themselves out of a freaking Empress, which is like the biggest fumble you could make. Can they grow? Of course. Will they? Not until they're damn good and ready. But could they grow? Absolutely. They don't have to act like this. They can grow up. 3 of Wands. But they got to be able to envision themselves in a different future. And it can't be a pipe dream where they envision being in this great loving relationship with some perfect person, but they're actually too scared to actually give themselves to a connection like that. They can daydream about this, fantasize about it all day long, but unless they make significant change, they're not ever going to have that. They're going to cheat themselves again and again. Let me just ask, universe, will they get from 3 of Swords to the 3 of Wands with a really happy relationship? Because something's got to happen in between here, from what I can tell. King of Sacred Circles. If they connect and get themselves grounded. The big problem with this person is they have not been grounded, so they would not give to anybody. It's really hard to give if you wear this big, huge suit of armor all the time. It's really hard to let yourself heal if you don't give yourself space for healing either. So they kind of probably need to just sit down and go through the thunder and lightning, address how their heart felt when they were wounded and forgive that or let it go, or really decide to be the king that they claim that they already are. They need to think about how a king really acts, a king really behaves, and turn themselves into that person instead of just claiming that they are and then actually, tell themselves a big fat lie with the devil card that we saw earlier. This is really good that the universe set them in timeout. And even that the universe let them sit and stew in all of their distress, that they played this game with an Empress and the Empress called their bluff. The Empress walked. I think that they're used to people chasing after them, and an Empress will never chase. That's just not how they operate. An Empress will say exactly what they mean, and then they'll let it go. Once they figure out what's going on, they want to make sure that an Empress wants to make sure that they didn't misunderstand something. So they may be very patient, but once they figure out what the game is and that it's a game, Empresses don't play. They bounce. They don't wait either for someone to change. The Empress comes to that conclusion that it's time to let this person go. Even if they walk away heartbroken, they will still do the right thing and walk away. Even if they still can't wrap their head around how does somebody behave that way, they'll still continue on with their life. True, she hadn't met anybody new. I think it's because, again, an Empress can be very patient in the emotional sense, even if their life continues on and they turn their back and they move forward. They know what to do, but they're still human, right? So they're still going to be having that tug of war internally. And I think that's why the universe has to say some pretty blunt, hey, let them go. It's okay to let them go and don't let this hurt you so much. They were a young soul. That might also help with the idea that if they ever do get themselves really grown up, if they ever do really heal, and if they ever do want to talk to her again, she could maybe entertain the idea of seeing them in a different light, because in the past they were a very young soul. This person is no longer young. And when they choose to become the king of sacred circles, when they sit as a hermit, this is where their maturity starts to show up. So yeah, there's a lot of growing that they needed to do, but this person messed things up with her because that was their MO. At least one thing I'll say is I don't know that messing things up with any other character would have made much of an impact on them. Also, I don't know that any other people that they played their typical games with would have actually had the power and the self-confidence and the self-respect to actually just bounce. And I think that's the other thing that they're not used to. They're not used to somebody that genuinely will not put up with games. As even if they love that person, the Empress still walked away and was wounded, but still walked away. That is what they needed to experience. I think she's been a very important part of their personal growth. And even this having to realize she's going to end up in somebody else's arms. I don't even know where she is, who she's loving, where her life has taken her. She's literally out of my life and I don't know how to get her back. Well, you can't when you haven't grown yet. So if they come around to her, it will not be until they've actually grown up. And in the meantime, she is completely cutting them out of her world and out of her even mindset for a period of time. Sandra, welcome, honey. Thank you. Let me get just one last one here. We've got a Queen of Wands sideways. The big message, I would say, as a whole is, and maybe this is for both characters. So the Queen of Wands, I usually think of as our most charismatic energy, the energy of a queen who says, oh, I definitely, I'm warm and I'm loving and I give my attention to things that I choose to give my attention to. I choose. I consciously choose. And they're very proud. This is like, hey, if I believe in something, it's because I actually believe it. Doesn't matter if it's popular, doesn't matter if it's unpopular. I don't need to please others with my choices, and I will own my own choices. That I like the Queen of Wands because of that, like I choose statement. That's kind of, I think, of the mantra of a Queen of Wands. She knows what she does and why. She doesn't pull any punches about it, whether she's right, whether she's wrong. She'll own it. This is like the person at the end of their life when they're at the pearly gates and they're talking to St. Peter or whatever. They'll be like, oh no, I totally did that. Yep, I wanted to. Nope, I loved that person because I chose to love them. Nope, I didn't love wisely, but I loved them because I did. I own it. Like that kind of like, I'm not going to wiggle out of any of the things that I did because I picked it. That's a huge level of confidence and, sense of responsibility. And that makes a character very charismatic. And if that is ultimately the big message that might help both of these characters is to think about our own actions. If we're going to be wounded, I'm allowing myself to be wounded. If we're going to insist that, this or this is going to happen in our life, it's like how we react to that, how we choose to behave. If we acknowledge that that's a choice, all of a sudden it makes us either rethink our choices or it makes us real brave and kind of brassy, and it makes us like choose better for ourselves in this lifetime. So I think that's the big message for both of these characters, because that card is sideways. It's not about arrogance at all, although when we get into a blocked energy on this card, it does become arrogant. Now it's like, I should be able to have whatever I want. That is not the same thing as saying, I'm doing certain things in my life because I choose this and I will own my, and be responsible for my choices. No, being arrogant is like, I want this. Why can't I have it? I deserve this. And it's like, well, you didn't actually earn it and you didn't work for it. And you're demanding it. You're not choosing it. That's two distinctly different things. And we definitely saw some of that on their side of things. They wanted to demand that they should be able to have access to a person on their terms and give nothing in return and still see themselves as super awesome, even though they were not behaving awesome. So this has been this is a pretty good lesson. I would say a pretty thought-provoking message, because I really see that these characters could actually have a lot happier days up ahead, which I like, even though it was a tough one. Oh my God. Crystal Suzanne, thank you again, you sweetheart. Oh my goodness. And welcome again, Miss Hermit. You guys are so amazing. You are so sweet, you guys. Thank you. Crystal Suzanne, I have lost track of how many times you have gifted memberships now. We've got to be up to about 20 now. I've never seen such generosity. Thank you, Angel. Thank you on behalf of everyone. Thank you for being so kind. Thank you for supporting my channel. I am so touched. Cole Kelly, great to see you. Hot Little Mexican, hi, honey. Hi, Baba Ganoush. Ms. Herma, always great to see you, honey. I'm honored you're here. Jenny, how are you? It's been a long time since I said hi to you. Hey, RS. Alec Woodby. Oh my God, what cute emojis. Is that like delphinium? I don't think I've ever seen that emoji. I love it. I love all the flowers, but that's a new one. I haven't seen. I would say that's delphinium. Hey, Gabriella. I know we're all cheering, right? For this character to grow. Hi, Kimmy. Wendy, thank you for the roses. It's so beautiful. Hey, Karen. I know I was a little sassy in this one, wasn't I? Aris, thank you. Hi, Sin and Darcy, sometimes Mama. Thanks for popping in. Kyle Young, hey, darling. And again, happy birthday, Ryan. That is so awesome. Sheila Thomas, hey. Hey, Penny. Diana, great to see you again tonight. Steve DeVette Gibson, I see you up there. Nice to see you. Hey, Corabelle. Escar, hi, honey. RS. Karina Davis, hi, honey. Hi, Assad. So good to see you tonight. Amanda Curry, you were first in the house. Crystal Suzanne, you were second in the house. All right, you guys. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out. So I still wanted to get to 2 more zodiacs, Scorpio and Aquarius tonight, and I still have to do Cancerian. And then tomorrow morning, first thing, I will wrap up the last couple, because I think we're still missing Pisces, Sag, and Aries. I think that's the only last 3 that I'll have to do first thing in the morning. Indigo Sky, right back at you, honey. Thank you for being here. It is my pleasure, Iskar. Thank you so much for popping in. RS, I appreciate you. All right, you guys. I will see you in Scorpio and Aquarius next. All right. Bye for right now.